We're good. Go.
All right, we're good to go. So this is Deputy Director Karen Peters' vision for Arizona's engagement with the tribes. Everyone engages, not just a few. So what we're looking for is as much and effective engagement with the tribes as possible. So what we're looking to do, and you can see where it's underlined in the bullets on this slide, is to engage with the tribes where they are by participating in tribal and community events and forums and expos, involving the tribes in agency rulemaking and permit decisions, as well as having those plans informed by data. These are tribal engagement focus areas. There are 4 of them. You can see that our emphasis is going to be on consultation, science and education, engagement, as well as technical assistance. So these are the 4 focus areas that ADEQ would like to help and support the tribes in. Here are some engagement highlights, so some successes that we've been able to complete in the recent times. So yesterday we had our wonderful community science coordinator presenting, and Megan Smart, she's here in the front row, from Streams to Sky, the community science program, transforming environmental stewardship. We've also had our brownfields coordinator acquiring funding for environmental assessments of properties in the Gila River Indian community. We've installed solar panels over 50 miles of canals, conserving more than 8 million acre-feet of water, serving 600 Arizona homes, and this is in partnership with the Gila River Indian community and Army Corps of Engineers and the Bureau of Reclamation. So we've attended 5 Tribal Earth Day events, and we've supported those events, hosting education booths, and we've also provided supplies, so hazmat equipment supplies to the Kaibab Band of Paiute and the Gila River Indian community. So we'll be talking more about that grant opportunity in future slides. So just a word about mining. I know that mining is often occurring in the rural communities and within the tribal lands. There has definitely been an uptick on permits that are coming in to ADEQ. We try to notify the tribes of permitting actions and offer the tribes consultations and informal meetings when we get those permits into our agency. Those actions are commonly related to groundwater, surface water, and air quality protection. I think the important thing to note here is ADEQ is at the tail end of the process, right? We are required to evaluate appropriate permits and permit mining operations accordingly. So we have no option to deny a permit. We have to issue the permit with the appropriate safeguards in place to protect the environment and human health. From the economic perspective, and I think our earlier presentations in this course have talked about, all the things. So the identification of critical minerals, the things that go into cars, the things that go into your cell phones, the things that go into all of the technology that makes our current lives maybe a little easier, I guess, for some people that's debatable. But there's that increasing demand for copper and critical minerals, the growth in the renewable energy sector and the use of electric vehicles. And so the mining of critical minerals also if it's occurring in the United States, also makes it easier for us to control our supply chains so that things don't get delayed, so things can be constructed and that our infrastructure can be improved. There's also technical advancements in mining as well as economic contribution to local employment and providing folks with jobs. So the permit information on ADEQ's website, all of our permits are available on our website. We do this on purpose so that the tribes and the public and in general can see what permits are in progress. There are these permits in progress reports that are updated as long as the permit is in play and for 3 months after that time. Here is a map. So this map is also available on our website where you can see all of the permits that are going on within ADEQ at this time. Some permits of interest to the tribes are listed here. They are available and have separate web pages in my community, the Pinyon Plain Mine, Copper World, South 32, and Minerals Research Inc. You should note that we are in the process of building all of this information into our websites, and it should be finalized in Q4 of 2024. Okay, I'm moving on from the Director's Office to air quality. So in air quality, what we are doing is we're working on a number of SIPs. So what those are state implementation plans for airsheds across the state. The 3 that are in play right now are the UMA PM10 moderate non-attainment SIP, the RITO PM10 moderate non-attainment SIP, and the Hayden PM10 moderate non-attainment SIP. But as you can tell, the purpose of this slide is to encourage engagement as stakeholders. So if you think that any of these areas may be of interest to you, please reach out to ADEQ. You can reach out through Lendrago or myself. If you are interested in learning more about these state implementation plans, which are designed to help bring those areas back into attainment with our air quality standards. So the other thing that we are doing, and you may have heard this in the EPA presentations yesterday, about the promulgation of a revised standard for PM 2.5. So what we have done and what's listed on this slide is the process by which our PM 2.5 plan will go through a series of approvals and the dates that those approvals are due by. So again, these dates and this presentation are available to you, and so you can mark them if you are interested in providing any feedback or comments. As you can see from the slide, the impacted areas are mainly Maricopa County, Pinal County, West Pinal, and we have met so far with the Gila River Indian community, there's predicted to be impact to the Santa Cruz County and the Nogales area as well. So this is the timeline for ozone in Maricopa County. As you may or may not know, Maricopa County is an exceedance of the ozone air quality standards. MAG is the Maricopa Association of Governments, who is the primary regulatory agency for submitting the SIPs for Maricopa County. So what that means is that they are responsible for submitting the plan to bring Maricopa County back into compliance with the ozone air quality standards. We are working together with MAG, with Maricopa Association of Governments, ADEQ, as well as the City of Phoenix and other entities to to figure out how we can alleviate some of the designations of Maricopa County as a serious area in terms of air quality. So this is a longer process. If you would like to know more of the details, please again reach out to Len or myself. So we are working to support MAG's efforts. We have, and again, a lot of acronyms on this page. The draft control measure SIP for the Gila County portion of the modern NAA for submission to EPA in early 2025. Again, what we are trying to do is to avoid the serious designation by making certain activities and putting in place certain plans. But right now, that does not seem likely to happen and to avoid. You may realize or not realize that there are economic implications to the designation of a serious ozone air designation in terms of our ability to house new industry and have new industry being emitting additional have additional emissions into our air quality in Maricopa County. Moving on to water quality. So we have an aquifer water quality standards rulemaking team that will be submitting the notice of proposed rulemakings to the Secretary of State's office on October 18th. The trial listening session for the NPRMs is tentatively planned in November. Thank you. We will be announcing that through our website, the exact date, so that we can get feedback. This is just an example of how ADEQ has been interacting with the Navajo. So there was a partnership tour that included the Navajo Abandoned Mine Lands Reclamation Department, as well as the Arizona State Mine Inspector's Office. The purpose was to identify areas where ADEQ could collaborate with the tribes. And you can see some of the attendees and the hosts here. One thing from the ADEQ side of things is the folks that attended were from our mine reclamation team. And so what we're looking at is we have a specific team within ADEQ in our water quality department that has worked on mine reclamation in order to protect the quality of surface water in Arizona. These are the places that were included in the tour. And so you can see that, there were several coal mines and uranium mines included in the tour. Some of these costs are lower, and then some of them are pretty high. Just a note about PFAS. So how many people know in here what PFAS is? Yeah, lots of hands. Okay. So per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, they are in many of the consumer products that we use on a daily basis. And from those consumer products, they can enter our waste infrastructure through our bodies. There is likely exposure to humans and transfer to infants, and then impact into the environment. Some of the other sources besides consumer products are industry, and then the use of aqueous film forming foam, the AFFF. So this is just a depiction of what that cycle might look like. And on the right-hand side, you have a view of the molecular structure of PFAS. So it's a long carbon chain that's fully loaded with fluorines with a functional group head. You can see I'm much more comfortable with the science end of things than I am with the policy end of things. So what this is a depiction of EPA's PFAS roadmap actions. So under the Safe Drinking Water Act, there have been national primary drinking water regulations promulgated as of April of this year. Under CERCLA, PFAS, there's certain PFAS, I think 6 of them have been given a hazardous substance designation. Under the Clean Water Act, we have final aquatic life ambient water quality criteria. And then under REPRA, we're expecting a hazardous constituent designation. It was supposed to be in January 2024, but we haven't seen it yet. It's still under review. So what is ADEQ's approach to PFAS? What we're looking to do is focus on healthy drinking water because this is the primary path of exposure. So primary path of exposure for what we have authority over is drinking water at ADEQ. We are gathering and analyzing screening data from all of our small drinking water systems. The large drinking water systems are of course covered by EPA. We are looking to engage with communities, communicate what PFAS is and what the health effects are to potentially impact communities, and we are developing web-based resources that should and can be available to everyone. We have a strategic implementation, so it started with drinking water, and now that we have the MCL that has been finalized and we have aquatic life criteria, we will be promulgating statewide water standards that may come after, well, we're trying to make it happen as soon as possible, but it may not happen until 2029 when the MCL becomes in full force for drinking water systems. We are also looking at sampling and screening as many groundwater wells as we can that we have access to in the state. And we've had meetings with our Department of Agriculture as well as Game and Fish to talk about the impacts to wildlife and to domestic animals and crows. So, I just covered what was on this slide, so I'm going to skip this one. Just a little bit about AWP, so that's Advanced Water Purification. You may or may not have heard about AWP, but this is a new program at ADEQ. We have an informal draft rule, and we're incorporating responses into that rule, which will be final in January of 2025. The majority of the interest that we've seen is from Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Cottonwood, and a lot of those conversations have been about the economics, because it is extremely expensive treatment technology, as well as the value of water to our communities, clean, drinkable water. So the question that we always have as we're starting up a new program is, where can AWP be used within the state to the benefit of its people? And of course, where can it be used to the benefit of the tribes? I know that water is an issue, and it's very important in many tribes' cultural celebrations and in their way of life. And so I think that AWP offers an opportunity there. It is very effective at removing most contaminants, more so than typical drinking water treatment technologies. So this approach is standard-based, not technology-based, and the rule will be updated to accommodate new technology as it is developed. A word about total maximum daily load. So I am just giving you the water hose right now. I know this. TMDL studies are for surface water, right? They depend on the complexity of the watershed size, the number of pollutants contributing to the impairment, and this process, the process of developing the TMDL, can take up to 3 to 5 years. The criteria that we're using are listed over on the right-hand side of the page. And what that does is the TMDL sets an understanding of what that water body can take in terms of pollutant loading before it goes over the standard. So these are some TMDLs in progress, and I apologize, the yellow is not very effective in terms of being able to see it. Let's see if I can find it really quickly here. There we go. So Little Ash Creek, we're in the data collection phase. Lower Sonoyta Creek watershed, we're in data review. Oak Creek, preparing draft for public comment. Queen Creek, data collection. Salt River, data collection. Statewide, we're looking at mercury in our surface waters to better understand where we have issues with mercury. And then in the upper Agua Fria, we're under data review for arsenic, calcium, copper, lead, selenium, and zinc. So again, if you have any concerns about these surface water bodies, please reach out to ADEQ and we can talk you through what the TMDL process is and how that may or may not impact your tribe. So moving on to waste programs. You may or may not be familiar with ADEQ's brownfields programs, but this is an EPA-funded program where we are managing contractors and putting together plans to update and rehabilitate old industrial properties or properties that have been impacted by contamination. So we've revitalized blighted properties since 2005, and these grants are open for tribes, municipalities, and nonprofits. Our contact information for the program lead is down in the lower left-hand corner of this slide. His name is Travis Barnum. So if there is a piece of property that you would like to see cleaned up, this is the program that can help you with that. So under waste programs, we have a recycling grant opportunity as well as work that we're doing to develop a hub and spoke program for Arizona. The recycling grant, I think it just closed, and the first one's closed.
And then we're waiting for next set of funding. Yeah, the first one closed on the recycling grant opportunity, and we're waiting on getting approval to open up the next round. And then we'll pre-communicate that opportunity to the tribes.
Is a match required for these?
What was the question?
Is a match required?
No, I don't believe so. And then the hub and spoke model is being worked on through a partnership with ASU and NAU, and will be forthcoming soon about how that might work. I think this is my last slide. So the emergency response fund, this unfortunately just closed on September 1st, but next year that application period will be July 1st through September 1st. So this is for hazmat equipment. If you need help in obtaining updated equipment for emergency response, this is where the equipment itself can be obtained. Given that this comes from our general fund, and so it is renewed on an annual basis. The amount differs every year. So I should have paused earlier. How am I doing on time? Okay. So I'd like to pause for a few minutes to see if there's any questions, but I also have a different message to share with you as well. Any questions, thoughts? Again, all of these links and resources are in the presentation itself, which will be sent to you. Okay, I also hold a role in a different organization called the Interstate Technical Regulatory Council. I'm a co-chair on the board of advisors for that organization. Let's see, there's another slide deck.
Okay, let me grab it.
So this organization is focused on creating technical guidance. Technical guidance that is available for everyone to use. And so it's an organization that is funded by the states as well as, and it's a nonprofit organization that receives grant funding from the DOE, from EPA, from the DOD as well. It starts as an offshoot of the Environmental Council of the states. And we would love to have more tribal involvement in the organization.
Let's see.
It's not there yet, it's coming.
Is that it?
Awesome. So Charles Reyes is the ITRC director. They're based out of Washington, D.C. This is an entirely voluntary, it's made up of volunteers. So technical, professional folk get together and they can learn during these working groups in the creation of these guidance documents. And then the organization trains on the guidance documents once they are created by these working groups. So that's the entirety of how this organization works. It's not advancing. So this is the relationship. So here's the Environmental Council of the States, and then there is a sub-organization called ARIS, which is Environmental Research Institute of the States, and then there's ITRC. So it's a national coalition that was established in 1995, and it represents the states, DC, territories, with members of the state, federal, and tribal agencies, as well as members from academia, the private stakeholders, and the public. And it is free. So anybody who applies or wants to participate in any of these work groups, their travel would be sponsored by the organization itself. What we are doing through ITRC is to capture innovative technologies and approaches into a recommended best practices type of document and then execute training on that. What we're doing is trying to promote faster acceptance of innovative technologies, promote better decision-making, reduce permitting and review time, by having a better understanding of what technologies are available out there. We're looking to decrease compliance costs and ensure that the states are all using the same innovative technologies and are accepting those technologies. So you can see here the listing of folks that are involved. We've got academics and public stakeholders. We have 11 tribal members. Folks from the private sector, which means industry and/or indoor consultancies. It is a great place to make friends, essentially, with other professionals and learn a lot about the technical technologies that are available out there for water treatment, drinking water treatment, surface water treatment, wastewater treatment. All of those places. It's a great place for you to build relationships with other professionals and learn what is going on in the cutting edge of those treatment technologies. So we've written 147 documents and conducted a lot of in-person training, and we've trained a lot of environmental professionals. These are some of the project teams that are ongoing right now. So the CEC team, contaminants of emerging concern, PFAS, vapor intrusion, wastes from energy production, green and sustainable chemistry, advanced site characterization, and underwater munitions response technologies are the focus groups that are ongoing right now. So for those tribal agencies that, have professionals or environmental professionals, this is an opportunity for them to participate in a working group on a nationwide level and learn about these new upcoming technologies.
Did we purchase that
We have upcoming trainings in microplastics, in
do we know, like, the
CEC,
SSID?
one for dioxin. We have an ongoing PFAS series, as well as information on 6-PPD and 6-PPDQ. And that was my pitch for ITRC. So thank you for letting me use some of my time, both for Arizona and for ITRC as an organization.
Any questions, thoughts, concerns? All right.
To me, I just, yeah.
Well, thank you for attending. Thanks, Paula.
Some of the session, I'll go ahead and talk to James lunch break. Sounds good. Okay, I'll be back in the afternoon. Okay, no worries.
Get a little head start on that lunch.
I can start, right?